everyone, and welcome back. It's Gina from orchidandopal.com, and I am back today with some finished pieces this time for some of the things I've made throughout the month that incorporate some of the items I've shared from previous bead boxes, some things I've shared in recent tutorials, and then some new things that will be coming up. It's always my hope for these videos that they provide you with some ideas or inspiration, maybe things you hadn't thought of before, especially if we have some similar materials. So I'm going to go through each piece and talk a little bit about it, maybe what I used, how I put it together, so you can get a little window into my thought process. Before we get into the jewelry, I am pleased to announce that this video is sponsored by Skillshare. In case you haven't heard of them, Skillshare is an online learning community that offers thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people with hands-on projects and feedback. Topics available include things like small business, design, marketing, productivity, arts and crafts, and so much more. This month, I discovered a class called Self-Care Through Creativity, Turn Your Anxiety into Art by Sarah Beth Morgan. Many of us don't just create jewelry for fun or as a part of a business, but perhaps a part of why we create is because it's an amazing form of therapy and self-care. This video helps artists take this concept a step further, helping them to intentionally turn anxiety or other challenging emotions into creative artwork. Because they're sponsoring today's video, the first 1,000 people who use the link in my description will receive a 1-month free trial to Skillshare Premium. So go ahead and try them out with no obligation. If you wish to do so, you're free to opt out of their service before your trial ends. All right, so here is the first of the pieces that I made from the recent bargain bead box. They had sent us some of the lapis, the rounds specifically that you see at the back of this necklace, and I actually used some of the faceted squares here in graduated sizes that I believe came from their sister site, beadboxbargains.com. I think I got those quite a while ago, and this was the perfect time for me to put this all together, and I think I'm just going to keep this one for myself. It's very simple and very versatile, and I don't have any jewelry that I've made actually in lapis that I've kept, so I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. Those cube beads especially are something that I was saving for something a little bit more special. In between each of the beads, you can see that I have some stainless steel round spacer beads. And the necklace is simply finished off with a lobster clasp and a little piece of chain there acting as an extender and a smaller lapis bead hanging off as an embellishment. So this is maybe just an example of a necklace that you can do that's pretty simple using the same type of gemstone bead and just graduating it from smaller to larger as you get toward the center. And you can just simply space them out with a single round spacer bead and get this classic look. Here's the next necklace I have to share. We had received this focal in the recent bargain bead box as well as some of these chandelier components. And this is one that I repurposed to use it as part of this pendant necklace. And I actually clipped off the center loop that it had and made this into more of a necklace component with 2 loops on each side. I'm still gonna file this down a little bit. I just didn't have my file handy. But all I did was use a pair of flush cutters and just trimmed that loop off at the base as close as I could to this component, and a file will simply get rid of any leftover edges or bits and pieces. So I left this design a little bit more simple. I used some of the lapis rounds as well to bring that all together with that focal component. And then I used 2 of the ceramic beads on either side to pull those 2 strands together into one before adding the chain on the back. And I did leave this necklace pretty long so it hangs down low on the chest. Of course, that can always be adjusted. And I could have made some earrings to match, especially because we had additional components just like that. I could have made some chandelier earrings, which would have matched that, but I didn't have as much time as I would like to have to dedicate to this month's bargain bead box, just because of some other projects that were monopolizing my time a little bit more. But hopefully that gives you an idea for another way to use a chandelier component, not just in earrings. Next is something else I tried also with that lapis component. I used the large necklace chandelier style component that they had included in the box, as well as the chain, and turned that into a fringe coming off of that component. I also used some of those faceted crystal beads, placing them so that they would make a V-like shape, especially as they come to a point where the pendant is sitting in the center. I just have to put my little crimp covers on there, but that's all right. I also used some more lapis beads. There's more of those faceted cubes that I had used in the first necklace. I also had some of these English cut beads in my stash, so I incorporated those as well. Some more stainless steel spacers and some more of those crystal beads up the side. And here's another view of the necklace. You can see that beaded chain that goes all the way around the back, and then I just finished it off with a lobster clasp and a piece of chain for an extender. For my next piece, I have a little bit of bead weaving that I did with the two of the sizes of rondelles that they sent in the smaller navy blue, the 3x2 millimeter, and then the larger 8x6 millimeter white rondelle beads. I also incorporated some more of those faceted blue crystals and just some 11/0 seed beads from my stash. So one of the things to note about this bracelet though is that I actually adapted one of the charms that they sent us in the box this month into a button. So similar to what I did with the chandelier component, I just clipped off the loop that this had and filed it down. And because the spokes here are open, I was able to bead this right in. You can see the 3 seed beads sitting right there. And I beaded that on sort of like a cup button and then made a loop of rondelles as a buttonhole. So here's a full look at the bracelet all laid out, and here is a look at the back. You can see the foundation is made with the rondelles, and then I went back over the top and embellished with those seed beads and also those crystals. So perhaps a tutorial to come on this one if there is interest, but I thought that was a fun little tip for you. If you're not sure what to do with the charm sometimes, you can just snip off that loop and use that as a button depending on the size of it and how you're able to attach that to your work. Next are 2 little bracelet projects that are pretty casual that I completed with the compass that the bargain bead box included. After all, the theme was Navigator, I believe it was called, so that was just one of those fun and different items that you probably won't come across too often. The bracelet on the left I kept pretty simple. I made a simple stretch bracelet using those wavy white beads and also some of the faceted red beads with those silver edges. I used a couple of the spacer beads that they included. And if you're curious as to how to attach a component like this with the loops on either side to a stretch bracelet, I do have a tutorial that I did a while ago on how you can make a stretch bracelet and specifically attach it with these little components. So if you're newer to beading and you'd like a tip on how to do that, you can definitely check that out. I'll try to leave that video in the corner. And then something else I've been starting to get into a little bit more is macrame. So I turned this other one into a wrap bracelet using that as kind of the center. I have a little button back there from my stash as a closure. I used some of these red rondelle beads that they included, as well as some more of those spacer beads that had the larger hole. And this is some Brazilian waxed cord that I picked up from Eureka Crystal Beads. Works extremely well and highly recommended, especially if you're newer to macrame, because that wax coating provides a texture that makes it less slippery and easier to make your knots. And speaking of macrame, this is another bracelet that I just made this month that incorporates some glass magatama beads, as well as some more of that same Brazilian wax cord, just in a darker color. And I wanted to show you this too because I just did a tutorial this month for how to make one of these macrame knot closures. So if you've never done one of those before and you want to make yourself a sliding knot bracelet, something that's adjustable, easy to get on and off, I do have a tutorial now for that, and hoping to come back with one more specific to the bracelet that you see here with the magatamas. It's pretty simple, but I really like that almost vine-like effect that this shape gives in the macrame. Also, this is the bracelet from that tutorial. I did the closure of that macrame sliding knot in a contrasting color just to make that stand out a little bit more from the other color I used in the bracelet. It's a great jewelry making concept to know to make one of these adjustable bracelets. One of the next exciting things that launched this month was a collaboration with Eureka Crystal Beads, not an official collection. That is, I can finally announce, officially coming out July 1st, so coming up next week. I'm super excited. I hope you all love it. But we're also collaborating periodically going forward on months that there isn't an official collection release to do sort of like a mini collection. So I will be picking out some items based around a specific color palette and theme, and then coming back to share those products with you. And not only will I share those products with you, but I'll also share at least one tutorial for the month using the products that I shared so you can see them in use and also get a little bit more information as to how I put certain things together. So I won't go into a lot of detail about these 3 pieces if you've already seen that video. If not, you can check that out. I have the 3 pieces here made from some of the contents of those picks for the month of June. The theme is called Fun in the Sun, and so as you can see, I used a lot of bright colors that were selected around a striped beach towel or blanket, and just a lot of those fun summery colors that we start to see crop up as the weather gets warmer. So I just shared a tutorial for this bracelet. I also have a free download diagram for the flat chenille stripes and how to weave in that special toggle clasp. I also have a free download with actually 5 different patterns of even count peyote stitch rings using that special delicate bead mix that Eureka Crystal Beads put together called the Beach Blanket Mix. So that is not the only ring that you can make. Of course, the sky's the limit with how you want to use those colors together, but I do have 5 different designs on that printable that you can find on my website and make yourself some cute little peyote rings. And then I'll be back very soon for a tutorial on how to make this 3-row cuff bracelet with the floral button clasp. That delicate bead mix is also used in this project, as well as some more of those 3x2 crystal rondelles. And the center is comprised of some of the pearls and rondelles from the Crystal Lane pearl mix that I shared in the video. These next earrings I called Aegean Breeze, and they are a new tutorial that I posted in the month of June. The pair on the far right is what inspired the other creations. They came from the contents of the order I placed with beadingschool.com that I shared recently, and you can see how they use the Diamond Duo or Gem Duo beads, the Amos Parpukas, and also some size 15-0 seed beads, and either some little 2mm pearls or 2mm fire polish, and then some other components. So I picked these crystal components up at beadingschool.com. I didn't have any other colors to share in the tutorial, but that's why I wanted to share all these other options for components. I did find these in my stash that I thought kind of mimicked the shape of the beaded portion down below and went really well. And then I went with a very minimal open circle connector for this silver and blue pair. So that tutorial is up. You're welcome to check that one out. Then next is the necklace and earring set that I recently shared from the videos from the Annie's Simply Beads kit of the month that I received recently, and I wanted to share this again because they're still running that really special coupon deal. It's SHARE75 to save 75% off your first month, which makes it only around like $11 with the shipping included, and you can find out more about that from that recent video. But here is the set that I made. It's completely wearable. I really can recommend after trying Annie's, especially for somebody who's starting out brand new, doesn't know hardly anything about jewelry making. It gives you some different techniques and styles to try out, materials to play around with everything included in the kit. And it's pretty flexible too, as far as like if you want to pause your subscription or do anything like that, which I appreciate, you can do right on their website. So you can find out more about that in the video, but this set is definitely adorable and I really enjoyed making that. Right here is the new design that I made from the beads that came in the Beads of the Month Club for June. That was the Hot and Trendy Club, which included all different sorts of wild and crazy shapes. And I put those together and came up with the Butterfly Garden necklace. This is one that I happened to put together based on items that I had in my stash already. Those Delos beads are brand new though, those little crown shaped beads. I did pick up additional colors of those to play around with. So if you happen to have this assortment, or if you'd like to make one of these, you can check that video out. I also have a couple of other color variations that I came up with based on things that I had in my stash. Here's one in a silver and blue and taupe combination. And then this purple and turquoise combination, those are the beads that actually came in the Beads of the Month club, and so I used those in combination to come up with that third color design. Here's a closer look at this. Since there's a lot going on, you can see that I have used the Super Unos as well as the Arcos, Parpuca, the Delos, the 3-hole octo beads, some 15-0 and 11-0 seed beads, and some of these little silver etched geckos there at the bottom. So that's all that's included in this design, everything fitting together like a little puzzle, and good for those of you who like working with those crazy shapes. I also brought back one of my designs that I had shared a while ago. This is the royal plumage design, and I just wanted to make some for fun based in some other colors. So I have a more monochromatic clear gray silvery combination on the left, and then this blue combination on the right. Of course, I have the video tutorial for this, and I just released the actual written pattern for this as well. So you can check out the written pattern that I have for sale on my site if you'd like to. This particular design incorporates some of the Toho demi rounds, a 12mm crystal Rivoli stone, some 4mm bicones, and also some other seed beads. Not to mention some little mini duos that are pulling this all together. And then next, you may recall this bracelet that I also made from the contents of that beadingschool.com order. And I actually made another colorway in the recent tutorial, and that is in blues and silvers. You can see this up close, and basically just in the tutorial, I share how to make these components and put these all together. And of course, it's very versatile because you could use these separate beaded components in any way you like, not just separated by the little loops. There's a look at the back. I happen to think that these would make cute little rings as well, even if you just did one or turn them into a pair of earrings. Beaded components like that are so versatile. And then to wrap it up, here is a ring design that I played around with using the even count peyote stitch and the Delica beads in 2 different colors, as you can see. And also using an 8mm size crystal chaton stone, and also incorporating some size 11 round seed beads to bezel the ring. Hopefully I'll have a tutorial for something like this in the near future. I've been trying to play around a little bit more with the Krakowski crystal, which is Eureka Crystal Beads' new line of crystal stones that have been lovely to play with, and also less pricey than Swarovski, since the Swarovski will be going away in the future. I do actually have one last item here, and this is a bracelet that I made using the symbol metal components there that go on the end of a gem duo beaded bracelet in particular, and then I use these backlit gem duos in the center of this kind of diamond shaped design because those backlit gem duos are just so fun, the way that they reflect the light. And I have everything framed out with some 11-0 seed beads in a coordinating tone of like a rose gold that goes with those symbol components. Alright, so that is everything for the month of June as far as finished pieces go since the last update. I hope you enjoyed checking out these pieces and seeing what I've been up to, and really appreciate all of you for watching and keeping me inspired, because all of this would not be happening without all of your support and encouragement, so thank you for that. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Let me know if there's anything here that stands out to you, if you have a favorite, or anything else you'd like to say. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe while you're here, because I would absolutely love to have you back. Also, one last thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget you can check for that link right down below the video if you'd like to try them out. I'll be back again real soon, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and as always, happy beading.